Let me say something that might ruffle a few feathers. Hard work is not your problem. Direction is. If hard work guaranteed success, every exhausted, spreadsheet juggling, late night email sending woman out there would be thriving. Every woman who stayed late just to finish one more thing would have the corner office by now. Every entrepreneur pulling all-nighters would be featured on magazine covers, right? But here we are, working harder than a one-legged cat in a sandbox and wondering why you're still not where you want to be. Maybe you're climbing the corporate ladder, but it feels like you're leaning against the wrong building. Maybe you're building a business, but you're building it on a foundation of exhaustion. Or maybe you're just trying to keep all the plates spinning without dropping the really important ones, like your relationships and your sanity. Here's what I know. You're not lazy. You're not lacking. You're just stuck in what I call the burnout loop. I speak from experience here, and today we're going to break you out of it. Years ago, I was in a season where I was working 14 hours a day, every single day. I thought if I could just outwork everyone, I'm going to win. I'm going to be successful. If I keep grinding, success will have to show up eventually. I was like a hamster on a wheel, except the hamster had 3 cups of coffee and a serious case of imposter syndrome. Now, if you notice my first book, it came out about 10 years ago, Breaking Busy. In the middle of that book, there's a little tiny hamster wheel on the cover. I put it there to be funny, but I put it there to show what I was breaking out of. I would wake up at 5 a.m. to get a head start. I'd skip lunch to squeeze in more work. I'd answer emails until my eyes burned because surely that would be the email that changed everything. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. And all that hustle got me was frustration and fatigue and a strong craving for gas station nachos at 11:30 p.m. I mean, I'm a woman with amazing taste because nothing says I'm winning at life like eating cheese from a pump while crying in your car. Eventually, though, I realized something that changed everything. Hard work wasn't the same thing as aligned work. Working harder wasn't the answer. Working smarter was the answer. And that shift, that one realization, saved my work and my sanity and probably my marriage. We've been sold this idea that the grind is amazing, that hustle is good for us, that if we just do enough, we'll finally be enough, that success is like some kind of cosmic vending machine. If you put in enough effort, quarters, eventually your prize is going to drop out. But the truth is, effort without strategy is just expensive noise. I want to break down why the just work harder advice keeps us stuck. First, effort without strategy equals burnout. Hard work without direction is like running full speed on a treadmill. You're sweating and you're exhausted, and your Fitbit or your Apple Watch thinks you're training for a marathon, but you're not actually going anywhere. I see this with women all the time. You're saying yes to every project and volunteering for every committee, taking on extra tasks because you think that's how it will prove your worth or it will actually make you successful. Meanwhile, especially in companies, you see this all the time. Your male colleague who leaves at 5 p.m. sharp just got the promotion that you've been working toward for years. We don't need to grind more. We need more clarity. We need to know where we're actually trying to go. Second big thing, your identity drives everything. If your identity is wrapped up in being the woman who gets things done, you'll never rest. You'll never feel like you've done enough because your worth is tied to your output. But if your identity is rooted in wisdom and strategy and intentional choices, you'll make better decisions about where to actually spend your energy. I want you to say this with me. My work flows from my worth, not the other way around. I'll say it again. My work flows from my worth, not the other way around. This is why imposter syndrome hits high achievers so hard. You're working twice as much as you need because you're secretly trying to prove you deserve what you already have the authority to step into. Your brain isn't broken. It's just running on an old script that says, I have to earn my place here. But that script is lying to you. Third thing, invisible work doesn't get rewarded. Hard work in the shadows doesn't get recognized. You don't get the promotion if your boss doesn't know what you're actually contributing. You don't get clients if they don't know you exist. This is true whether you're in a boardroom or you're building your business. You have to advocate for yourself. You have to make your contributions visible. Now, this doesn't mean you're going to all of a sudden be loud and obnoxious. That's not you. It means being present, consistent, and strategic about sharing your wins. Because here's the hard truth. No one's handing out trophies for silent suffering. Fourth thing, you can't work your way into worth. This ties into the identity again. Sometimes we work harder to avoid deeper questions like, what do I actually want my work to look like? Who am I when I'm not producing? And what am I afraid will happen if I actually slow down? I know this for me. For me, there have been years of my life, I've talked about this in multiple books, years of my life where things were so hard, especially with my husband being sick and so much pressure on our family, that I would just work and work and work. And it was how I would numb out instead of actually dealing with my emotions. Hard work sometimes becomes a drug. It numbs the discomfort of uncertainty, but it doesn't actually heal the underlying wound. You can't hustle your way into feeling better. If you could, I would have done it because I tried to do it. Like I said, there were so many years that was my drug of choice to numb myself. I don't have to think about the difficulty of life because I'm just going to put my head down and work. But I needed to get my butt into counseling to deal with my emotions because you can only push things down so long. I think because I tried to push through for so many years, that's what originally started all of my GI issues because the body keeps the score. And my body was screaming at me, hey, there is something wrong. And if you don't take care of you, I'm going to keep breaking down until you finally do. That's what I learned. So let's talk about what actually works next. This is the strategy that nobody talks about. If grinding through work and just working harder and exhausting yourself isn't the answer, what is the answer? It's not about working less, though you might end up doing that. It's about working with intention. It's about leverage and leadership and alignment instead of just effort. So here are some shifts that are actually going to move the needle for you. The first one is I want you to redefine success on your terms. You can't hit a target that you can't see. And most of us are aiming at some vague notion of success that we absorb from Pinterest quotes or LinkedIn posts. So I want you to sit down and get specific. What does success actually look like for you in this season? Not 5 years ago when you thought you wanted to be the CEO or you thought you wanted some specific promotion. Not what your college roommate is doing, but right now. What would make you feel proud of your professional life? For some people, it's the corner office and the title. For others, it's flexibility to pick up your kids at 3 o'clock. For others, it's building something from scratch that is going to put your name on it, and it's a legacy that you're going to leave the world. None of these things is wrong. These are all amazing things, but they require completely different strategies. You can't measure success if the goalpost is invisible. Second big thing, I want you to audit your energy like your life depends on it. Look at everything you did last week, everything. Then put each task into one of 3 categories. Number 1, it gets results. So that directly moves you to your goals. Number 2, it just keeps you busy. It feels productive, but doesn't actually matter. And number 3, it drains your soul. It makes you question your life choices. I want you to put everything from the past week in those 3 categories. You can take a piece of paper and do 3 sections and fill it in, however you want to do it. Here's your homework with this. I want you to eliminate 20% of the busy work. That's that second category. It just keeps you busy. It feels productive, but it doesn't actually matter. Eliminate 20%. Automate what you can, delegate what you must, but small cuts will create big clarity for you. And yes, that means saying no to things. It means disappointing people who have gotten used to you saying yes to everything. It means setting boundaries that feel really uncomfortable at first. But you can do this. I want you to do it even though it feels uncomfortable. Because for you to strategically move forward and for you to get out of the burnout loop, there is no way to do it without eliminating, automating, delegating, and calmly but firmly giving a gracious no. The third shift I want you to make is I want you to rewire your identity script. I want you to write this down somewhere that you're going to see it every day. Just pause the show after I say it so you can write it down. If you're driving, make sure that you come back to this. Here it is. I'm becoming a woman who leads strategically, not one who works endlessly. I'm becoming a woman who leads strategically, not one who works endlessly. I want you to say it out loud. I want you to say it until your nervous system starts to believe it, because your actions will always follow your identity. If you see yourself as someone who has to work twice as hard to get half as far, that's exactly what you'll do. But if you see yourself as someone who makes smart decisions and creates leverage, you'll start acting like that person. Our behavior follows our identity beliefs. However you feel about yourself, that is what your behavior will do. So you have to let neuroplasticity work for you. Whatever that phrase is, maybe it's not specifically, I'm becoming a woman who leads strategically, not one who works endlessly. Whatever it is that works for you, say it, write it down, let it rewire your brain, because your actions will flow from that. The fourth shift I want you to do is I want you to make your work visible. Whether you're asking for a promotion or launching a business, visibility isn't vanity. We've talked about this. It's stewardship of your talents. In the corporate world especially, this means speaking up in meetings and sharing your wins with your boss. It means volunteering for high visibility projects and building relationships across departments. In business, this means telling people how you can help them, sharing your expertise, telling people why your product is amazing, and being findable when someone needs what you can offer them. You're not bragging, you're being available, and there's a huge difference to that. The final big shift I want you to make is I want you to let technology work for you. Here's the truth. You're probably doing too much manually. We live in an age of AI, and you're still doing math by hand? Come on. Here's some ways that I want you to buy back hours during your week. Think about these, choose one, and I want you to do them in the next week. I want you to let AI draft a proposal if you have to do it. Give it all the background information, let it make a draft. You're never going to send it out because AI did it all. You're going to edit it, but get 80% of the heavy lifting done for you. I want you to automate your scheduling. You can use Google Calendar. They let you book events now. You can use Calendly. I use a great tool called Zcal, Z-C-A-L. So if someone wants a meeting with me, I send them my calendar link on Zcal. I used to use Calendly. Either one is fine. And that appointment that they book, it automatically books on my Google Calendar and theirs. And it saves me all that time going back and forth, trying to figure out when I'm free and they're free and back and forth. Another thing you can do is you can use a transcription service for meetings so you can just focus on listening. So record a meeting that you're in, then have it transcribed. I use Otter AI for my transcription. Or you can, if you're on the phone with someone and you have permission, click on your phone to record it and it will turn into an Apple Note. Everything will be there for you. If there are repetitive tasks that you do, create templates for those so it can get done really quickly. Don't reinvent the wheel. When you have to do something over and over again, create a template so you can jump in and go. Another thing you can do is you can set email filters up. I have a great system for Gmail. I use priority inbox. So only the things that I have told Gmail are priority will show up at the top of my inbox. After priority, I have an unread section for other email that's important, but not top priority. And then under that is a whole nother section with all the newsletters and things like that. It's great. Instead of every day getting 100 email and having to fish through what's important, what's not important, I normally only get about 10 email to that priority inbox. And it doesn't make me want to punch myself in the nose when I open my email every morning. Another thing I want you to think about doing, if you don't already do this, use a project management tool instead of mental juggling. So your project management tool could be a Google spreadsheet. It could be an Apple Note. I use Basecamp. There's a million different tools out there. Some people love Notion. Whatever system you will use is the best system for you. Where people get in trouble is we're always thinking, well, let me perfect the system. Let me find just the right thing. I don't want you to think about that at all. Just find a system that you will actually use, and that will work for you. I want you to think of technology as your personal assistant, not your replacement. Let it handle the routine stuff so you can focus on the work that actually requires your brain. Now, I've given you so much homework, so much to do in this episode, but you're a hard worker. You can do it. We can do this. We can break out of the burnout loop. Here's what I want you to understand. The burnout loop isn't just about work. It is so much about worth. It's about the story you've been telling yourself about what it takes to matter. But you do get to rewrite that story. You get to decide that your value isn't determined by your productivity. You get to choose strategy over struggle. You get to pick alignment over exhaustion. And this week, I want you to do something brave. I want you to choose ease over effort in at least one area. Maybe that means delegating something that you normally do yourself. Maybe it means saying no to a project that would look good on paper, but it drains your energy. Or maybe it means asking for help instead of figuring out alone. It might feel wrong at first. In fact, it probably will feel wrong at first. Your old programming is going to tell you that if it's not hard, it doesn't count. But that is the burnout loop talking. Success doesn't have to be suffering. Progress doesn't require pain. Sometimes the most revolutionary thing you can do is choose the path that feels sustainable to you. Because I need you to hear this. You don't have to earn your worth through exhaustion. You don't have to numb out through work if you're in a period of stress. You don't have to prove your value through overworking. You don't have to sacrifice your peace for other people's approval. You're already qualified, you already belong, and you already have what it takes. The work you're doing matters. The contribution you're making does count. And the woman you're becoming is exactly what the world needs. So this week, instead of asking, how can I do more? Try asking, how can I do better? Instead of how can I work harder, I want you to ask, how can I work smarter? Instead of am I doing enough, ask, am I doing what matters? Am I doing what God has called me to do? Because you're not behind, you're not falling short, you're not failing. You're just learning to work with your work instead of for your work. And that changes everything. You can stop running on the hamster wheel. You can step into more power. You can learn to trust your voice and lead with intention, whether in the corporate world, whether it's in your place of work, or the business that you're running. The world needs what you have to offer, but it needs you healthy and focused and fully present to give it. I believe that this is just the beginning of good things ahead for you. And more importantly, I believe that you've got permission to succeed without burning out. Now go show everyone what aligned work can look like. Okay, now I have a recommendation for you. So I want to tell you about my rosacea. I do want to tell you how I cured it. So if you watch this show on YouTube, you have seen me some days have a really, really red face. You have seen me with a cold can of LaCroix in the bloopers holding this against my cheeks because my cheeks were so red. It's a really, really painful condition. There's lots of different types of rosacea. Luckily, I had type 1, which meant I just got the red flushing and broken capillaries. I did a ton of research, and it turns out that my type of rosacea was often caused by a histamine reaction. And it was inflammation and my body's inability to kind of flush out the histamines. So I used 2 supplements. I used quercetin, which quercetin helps calm everything down in your body, kind of like a natural antihistamine. And DAO, this is an enzyme that helps break down the histamine. So it's actually called grass-fed kidney, which everyone laughed at in the household when I first got it. And it's an enzyme that breaks down the histamines. And so it keeps it from building up and flaring up. Quercetin is kind of, if you've had histamine problems for a long time, there's a mast cell activation, and this calms down your body. Once I started taking both, within a few weeks, the redness and flushing just stopped. I didn't need creams. I was about to save up a bunch of money to get laser treatments for it. I fixed what was happening underneath. So with quercetin, I take it twice a day, morning and night. And the DAO enzyme I take before I eat each meal. I'm sharing this with you. So if you suffer from type 1 rosacea or you know someone that does, give it a try. It's natural. It made me feel so much better. Every once in a while, I'll still get a little bit of flushing. Like if I go outside and it's super, super hot, that can trigger something. But rosacea is something that I have dealt with my whole life. And I was getting ready to spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on a laser treatment that could work. but I just needed supplements. And a few weeks ago, I did function health testing. You go twice to a laboratory. They take a ton of vials of blood and they test everything. I'll tell you about that in an upcoming show. And to prepare for the function health testing, you need to be off supplements for 72 hours before. And I was about 48 hours in without taking these. And my cheeks were on fire all the time. And I thought, thank goodness I figured that out because living with that condition was so painful and embarrassing. And it makes me so happy that I found something natural to deal with it. So, just in case you or someone else you know could need that, I want to share it with you. Now, as we're wrapping up, I want to tell you something else I love is that you're here. I'm grateful that we spend this time together. Thank you for showing up for your growth and your faith and your future. And all of that matters. What you do matters. You listen to this episode today to get great advice, to learn how to not just work, but work in an aligned way, to make sure you're not working to earn your worth, but to work from a place of worth. This matters. And it doesn't just matter for you, it matters for everyone that your life touches. And I believe in the calling on your life. I believe in the dreams God placed in your heart. And I know that you're a difference maker. I want you to hear me remind you that you are stronger than you think, you're braver than you feel, and you are absolutely not alone. With God, you have everything you need. So keep stepping up and keep showing up and loving well, because you can't break a woman who gets her strength from God. I hope you have a great day, and I'll talk to you again soon. Every exhausted, spreadsheet juggling, late night emailing, sending woman would be out. Oh, that's hard to say. Hold on. Okay, we're here. I'm doing this. Here we go. Are we actually recording? Yes, we're recording. Sorry.